People nowadays want the results of the years that other people's work so hard for. I want to be like you when I grow up. You can be yourself.
You just jump off the cliff and you build your plane on the way down.
Remember that you are important and start realizing that someday is now and that somebody is you.
All right, welcome guys. So today we have an amazing guest by the name of Hershey Hilado, who currently is now based in the Philippines, where she originally came from. She spent quite some time here in Melbourne and in Sydney building up her business and is now making it big back home. So she's been in the top 80 women to watch for 2017. She's 30 under 30 Influencive Entrepreneurs for 2016. And she's the CEO of the top 50 most innovative and exciting e-commerce stores in Australia. Business and life mentor, investor, social media and branding guru, and inspirational speaker. So I'm really excited to introduce my guest today, Hershey. Welcome to the show. How are we?
Oh man, great. And again, to this day, we've been pushing it, and I'm so glad that we actually made it happen.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, you got an incredible story. It's just really, really compelling. So I really want to deep dive into just everything, your whole journey from the ups and the downs. And yeah, it's cool because your background, Filipina, born and raised there. Myself, Filipino, but born in Melbourne. So it'd be cool to see what your experience is like. So I'm really interested about this interview. Yeah, just to start off, I'd like to hear more about, in terms of your story, how you started off and about where you are today and what is the impact you're making today.
Where I started off, I started off really, really rough. But nowadays, as an adult, I don't really see it as that bad, honestly. Like most people, when they hear my story, it's like, oh, you poor thing. But the difference is that I never really went through the stage where I jumped into the pity train. I never even had a chance to really, feel the pain while I was in that situation. I didn't have the option to. I literally, all my life, my instinct is just to survive. And that became my greatest asset to this day. There is no problems, there's no adversity for me that is impossible to overcome. It's because of what I've been exercising pretty much all my life.
What was life like for you back then?
I've experienced being homeless for more than 2 years. I'm a shoplifter. I shoplifted. I steal clothes from shopping centers and I resell them on the street so I can, have some money for the rent and then feed my siblings, send them to school. I've got involved into a gang. I've gotten arrested more than 6 times a month doing that. And I was just literally the most rebellious kid I ever know. I think I did all of the mistakes by the books, honestly, man. And it wasn't something that I wanted to do intentionally. But then, there's a lot of external factors why we do what we do. And for me back then, I don't even go to school. I hated school because in school they don't understand the way I think. There's just no such thing here as, people are listening. Nobody wants to get into other people's business. If they see there's something wrong here, they just pretend like it's not happening. And that is something that I took growing up and said, if I see something wrong, I'm gonna say something, So it's very fucking difficult.
Yeah, for sure. And how old were you during this kind of era when you were really rebellious?
High school. So as far as I can remember, since I was 13 and 13 to 15. Yeah, sometimes when people ask me, I forget stuff that happened. It's like, that actually happened. It's because my life happened so quick, man. I didn't even have a chance to experience my childhood. I never owned a freaking doll. Nothing, because all I had to do was just survive and work and look after my siblings. That's all I was doing. Literally, my whole life, my whole teenage life was for other people, for the people that I care and love, And then when I started my business, that's when I realized that, it's okay to be selfish and think about your own dreams as well. And in the process, I discovered that sometimes, and most of the time, you've got to be selfish to become selfless.
Right.
And in order to do more good and to impact more people, you need to value your time, you got to value yourself, and you have to learn to shut other people's off your life because you're on your own journey, and most people can't understand that, and you can't take people with you. So it's constantly been like that. Like, it's all about just creating and really subtracting people, like creating more opportunities and subtracting unnecessary baggage in your life. When I first started, it was all about survival, right? It was all about just making a living so then I can support my siblings and I could live and I could survive. But then one thing that I realized that, when I started earning money, is this void that is missing. And I think that is the sense of responsibility, because I'm like, my value system is, I'm very selfless. I value contribution. You've got to come back into what do you value as a human being, as a person. And I found myself like asking, like, is this it? Like, this is the success that they're talking about back home now? Like, just earn a living, make some money and stuff like that. But I think the lesson that I've learned coming from nothing to something really is to know that whatever that we've gone through, it was temporary. But it is our responsibility to find the lesson within that. And I think the greatest lesson for me is that don't ever go into the self-pity train, honestly, man. Because once you do that, you already put yourself in so much darkness. You've already given yourself no hope to survive or to move forward in life. And like growing up here with zero support, you have to become your own hero. I'm gonna go back into it. Like, you have to think that nobody's gonna come and help you, as much as it is so harsh, but that was the kind of mentality that I had back then. Nobody's gonna come and pat you at the back, take you on their house, feed you and send you to school. Just nobody. And thinking that you have to do it all on your own, then you have to push yourself. And that was the only thing that I had, really, myself. So that was the only thing that I really learned, is that you can't rely on other people. If you want to do something, you go do it yourself. So where I am now is I'm really in a mission to really support the entrepreneurial community here in the Philippines and to really give everything that I've got. I really believe that the purpose of why I came to Australia, lived there for 10 years, learned what I did, it's because I had to go back home and bring it back here and contribute it to like aspiring entrepreneurs and Filipinos. Because the problem in this country is that there's so many employees, but there is not enough employers. That's the problem. And I've grown up with my mom working in Hong Kong and stuff, and it does create a lot of distance between families and stuff. And also where I'm going is, for me, I'm just living the dream, man. Like, I can't ask for more, because I'm living my dream away. That's the difference. And where I'm going is I'm creating a movement here. I'm creating a movement here in the Philippines that I know that is going to change everything for the next few years, especially on the education landscape here. I'm trying to innovate. I'm trying to disrupt the education system here, and I've got a lot of support from that. So that's something that I look forward to every day.
Wow, it's amazing. And I mean, your headline is from homelessness to millionaire status.
To be honest, that's something I don't really like, that millionaire status thing, because the millionaire is just like, it's just a status, man. Like, for me, I want them to realize more that successful is not just a measure of money and how much you have in your bank account. Really, they need to understand that success is more of a inner peace. It's more of an inner fulfillment and contribution. That it's all about that. Yeah. So from where I was before, I used to like wish that someone could come and fucking save me. But nowadays, I decided that one day, no, it's not gonna happen. I need to become my own hero. And nowadays, what I hear people say is that my strength became theirs. And every day, every time I receive messages from people and reading that because of you, Hershey, I didn't give up. And for me, that's a legacy. That's a fulfillment of my own life that I never wished before. But now that I have it, it's like, I'm so fucking grateful.
In a way, you have to put yourself first before you can start serving others, right?
Yeah. It's a clash, to be honest, because I'm the kind of person that I believe in choices, right? But if I were to look back then, I really had no choice. It was either me committing suicide or steal just to support my siblings and for me to eat. That was the only choice that I had. Okay, so like switching my mentality from being selfish in order to become selfless, it takes a lot of journey within to realize that.
Right.
It takes a lot of discipline for you to just recognize your own worth, your own value, to learn how to say no to other people in order to say yes to you. Because let's just say that if I just allow my friends to just say, hey Hersh, let's go clubbing this Friday and stuff. Let's just say they ask me that and my answer is yes. Now I have to question that answer. Am I saying yes to them or am I saying yes to me? Now, if I just say yes to them because I just want to hang out with them and get drunk and stuff, then really there is something that I know that there's no ROI in that kind of activity, you know. But if I say no, I stay back home, I start like working in my business and learning more about personal development. But really, I was saying yes to me. I said no, so then I can say yes to me.
Yeah.
And that has been the way sort of what do you call it? The way I process every time that I'm in that situation. The mind shift happened there. So basically, am I saying yes to me or am I saying yes to other people?
Right. Interesting. And did that kind of thought process develop when you left the Philippines?
So that mentality really, all of that happened in Australia. That was when I got into the entourage.
Yeah.
That's when I got into the personal development stuff. That kind of mentality shifted. And also, it's not just because of situations, right? I think that it hugely impacted me, like in terms of like reading books, listening to podcasts, and just really spending more time with myself and in my learnings and studying more than I spent time in watching TV and stuff. Like I don't watch TV for 7 years now. I don't even own one.
Right.
I don't own TV. Like if you go here in my house, even in my apartment in Sydney, I don't own a TV. I don't fucking need it.
Yeah. It's so much more liberating, eh?
Your input will always determine your output. So if what goes in your eyes and your ears, that's what comes out in your mouth. So if you consume information that is just negative and is worth nothing, meaningless, then you speak it out. So but if you consume information and you read books and listen to podcasts and stuff, then that's the way you would speak as well. That's why most people say like, I can't believe you're only 25. Like I had a meeting with this woman and she's a multi-millionaire in the Philippines in real estate. Like this is the kind of conversation that I have with 50-year-old, other businessmen, and I can't believe you're only like literally more than half my age.
Right.
That's because I swam and I really went deep into the study of myself, because a lot of people spend so much time idolizing and studying other people, especially younger generations nowadays. They spend so much time idolizing fucking Kim Kardashian's ass and Selena Gomez, and they spend no time like learning about themselves. Like learn about you, man. Like why would you don't wish, like people nowadays want the results of the years that other people's worked so hard for. I want your life. I want to be like you when I grow up. You can be yourself. Yeah, my success, my journey is never going to be the same for you because I've grown up differently. My experiences are different. My habits are different. So instead of spending time trying to duplicate other people's success, spend time in creating your own.
It's basically talking to your old self, right? Because you're the first person, in your life to be able to make that change. Now people around you are now being inspired to make that change. So what do you tell these young millennials who watch Kim K every day, who are following all these people on Instagram, aspiring to be like them, buying what they buy and doing whatever they do, but they're not paying, the attention to themselves? I watched your video in terms of, your best advice for millennials, and you're either one of two people, right? You're either that person who's, inspired to make that positive impact in the world, or you're that other person who feels like they're entitled to everything.
The government doesn't owe you a living. You owe the world something. So whatever ideas, potential, and talent you've got inside you, you've got to let it out.
I've called myself out being like that kind of person who's entitled to so many different things. I've met a lot of people who feel like they're entitled, but it's not until I hear people like you who've really gone through the trenches and really earned what you have today, and going even that bit further and realizing that it's not even about that anymore. It's about what can you do to serve. What do you tell these young millennials who think follow this person, do whatever they're doing, and how do they pay more attention to themselves?
Like there's a lot of bullying and lack of self-confidence to a lot of young generations nowadays, and that is because at home that's not being really taught by the parents. That's not being taught in school as well. I think like my advice is that we live in the greatest era of all time, okay? Use that in creating the better version of yourself, which is instead of just spending time on social media, learn something, master a skill. Do you know what I mean? Like the best example for me is I'm a high school dropout. I didn't even finish high school, okay? And what I did, I bought a $50 course in Udemy and then studied HTML. I did that within 48 hours and I was able to build my own website, okay? I sent my sibling to school to study computer science and it took a whole freaking semester for them just to study HTML. Now, my encouragement for young millennials would be, don't wait for people to teach you something. You have the information on key, like in your fucking face. Use it. Do you know what I mean? Don't just rely on people to teach you how to do business if they haven't even done business all their life. That's like my principles is that listen to people that is walking the path. Listen to people that are successful, not just on the money wise, but people that has a relational wealth, that I call it. People that has real connections, real relationships with people. People that brings the best out of you. Hang around with friends that like you. Don't try to fit in. Fucking stand out, man. That's for me, because nowadays when you see in school, right, everyone just we just want to fit in a certain kind of group. We're not born to fit in, okay? We're born to stand out. So don't worry about what other people think of you. And I think that as much as there is a lot of bad stuff about becoming a millennial, the entitlements and stuff like that, I think there's also a lot of good stuff because there's more entrepreneurs nowadays, and I think people think for themselves now. That's why TV advertisement doesn't really work anymore. It's because nowadays millennials have the say, millennials can respond to advertisement, millennials have the voice. And I think out of any other generations, millennials are the smartest and really outspoken. They say what they think. So my encouragement would be that get some mentorship. Look up people that can elevate you, and can make you grow. So that would be my advice for myself when I was young. And the same goes with today's millennials.
For sure, I appreciate that. And I think it's so interesting because I'm a uni dropout. Obviously you're a bit different being a high school dropout, but it's the same kind of mentality that I thought originally that you had to finish off a course. And if you didn't, well, then you're going to be lost or you're not going to succeed. You're just going to fail, But it's so interesting that you see, not saying school is a bad thing, but if you want to do something completely different, sometimes entrepreneurship is the way. And we're going through this era right now where this is the biggest opportunity. Look at social media. The playing field is now even. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what your race is, what you eat, what color you are, nothing. There's opportunity open to everyone, and you don't need this traditional kind of schooling. Like you said, you can go on Udemy, buy a course for $40-50. You can do a tutorial on YouTube. You can get someone's course for $197, and this is the raw kind of content that's being given from someone's experience who's done it, as opposed to someone else who's just teaching it because it's part of their curriculum and they don't exactly represent that. So I really love what you're saying, because I think it's really going to open up people's minds to the possibilities out there. I'm not saying drop out of high school, that's not what we're saying. Don't just drop out of university, don't just drop out of your 9 to 5, but really look at who are the people who live the lifestyle that you want, and really look at who are they surrounding themselves with, and how can you try and emulate that too. So I really love that, Hershey. In terms of wanting to get into entrepreneurship, and you did it with the Entourage, with Jack DeLossa, which is really cool. I too went to his unconvention, which is really amazing. What are the main business lessons that have really shaped your life ever since getting into this journey, and how have you started to really apply that into your life today?
Number one lesson that for business for me is this thing that Jack DeLossa said. He said that your business will never outgrow its founder. That short statement there is so, it has been that one of those life-changing mantras for me. Because when you really break it down, right? If you stop growing as the founder of the business, your business is also going to stop growing. So because of that, I never stopped studying, man. Before I jump into the phone, like literally I was always in the traffic going out for lunch, and this morning I've read 60 pages. I've listened to podcasts for 45 minutes. Every day, that's part of my habit. I will never stop learning because I know that my business is growing, and a different version of my business each year, every six months, needs a different version of me. And again, I can't give what I don't have. You know, as a mentor and as a teacher and as a facilitator now in workshops, like I gave myself this massive responsibility because it keeps me accountable. You know, when people come to your workshop to learn something, man, that's just like, okay, I need to learn something new. I need to learn something new every day, so make sure that I don't repeat myself every time I run this workshop. But it's more really that mantra has freaking kept me above ground. It kept me from studying. It kept my ego low. It kept me humble. Because I believe that there's always something that we could learn from other people, whether they're only a janitor or whether they're CEO of a multi-million-dollar company. There's always something to learn, and if you keep that to yourself, that you know, I am a student of life, and I'm always going to stay the same. Like I am going to be a student of life until the day that I die. I think that you've already maximized your potential as a human being.
Wow, that's really something profound. I'm gonna have to like let that absorb, sink in a bit, and just really think about that one, because that's really huge. In terms of like your routine, it'd be great to really understand what it takes to play at the level that you're playing at. I mean, starting your day, what time do you wake up, by the way? Obviously you had a late one.
I wake up at 10.
Yep.
The reason for that is, I wake up at 10. It's because I go to sleep at 5. I go to sleep at 4. So it wasn't really about like what time to wake up. It's how many hours do I sleep and how many hours I wake up. I used to be so conscious, you know, when you hear motivational faces, you gotta wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning in order to get. I get to like, I think, oh my god, like I'm not waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then I realized that, you know, it's now they're just numbers. Okay, you gotta remember, what have you done in that 8 hours and that 4 hours? I sleep 4 hours. That's all I get, because I can't sleep more than that. I get a freaking headache if I sleep more than 4 hours, man. Trust me. For me, sleep is a disturbance. It's an inconvenience. If my body doesn't need it, I wouldn't go to sleep, because I live and breathe everything that I do. My business, my passion. Like I want to look back when I'm 50 and say to myself that, damn, I've spent more time being awake and living out to my dream more than I, you know, spent most of my time in bed and try and dream about it. You know, I'm very blessed. I'm not lucky because I work so hard for it, but I'm very blessed in the way that I get to live my dream every single day. So part of that is it's just old habits, man.
The power of the internet today and social media is that you can have a team anywhere around the world. Obviously depending on what your business is, but I'd love to get to know what your experience has been like working with I guess your team in the Philippines, and maybe the reason as to why, you know, you shifted from Australia to there, and what is your vision?
The reason why I've shifted from Australia to the Philippines is, business-wise, it's more affordable. Like you can, like the opportunities is limitless in terms of manpower, and I think most importantly, I really, again, the same thing with you, you know, I appreciated more of the work ethics of Filipinos. Like, they're the most hardworking people. And the only thing that's been lacking here, why the country is not moving, it's because there is there's a lack of leadership, okay? But if you, let's say, like me coming from Australia and like being a leader, and I come here, and here's the difference, right? People doesn't work for me, they work with me. So if you see my team, we're just like good mates. Like I literally mastered the balance between being an employer, being a leader, and being that person that elevates them. Because for me, you need to be able to be open for mentorship, right? So working with Filipinos, especially with millennials here as well, they're very creative, they're very hungry. Okay, if you feed them and you support them with what they're trying to do, and you stay open, they'll give you their life, man. Literally, there's so much opportunities here, and there's a lot of manpower, there's a lot of skill set. It's just they just need leadership. And if you're an employee, let's say from Australia or any other Western countries, if you can look after your people that is working here, they'll look after your business too. It becomes their business. Regardless of what level you are in your business, try to work with people. People doesn't work for you. Work with them, because without them, you can't have your business. You can't make money. You can't live the way you live. So that would be my take on that.
How do we really drive these young talent to understanding that, hey, look, you don't necessarily need to be like even just a freelancer, but now even in the Philippines, you can actually be in charge of your own business and start charging like, you know, all these other countries do. I feel like there's such a big gap there. What are your thoughts on that?
I think people in general need to be inspired. If they're inspired, they're motivated. And I've been running my third workshop here, and one thing that I've realized, like, these people are ready. They're ready to go and work and create something. They just need to, and these people, they don't come to learn from me in my workshops or whenever that I'm speaking engagements and stuff. They come to ask for my permission, for me to look them straight in the eye and say, you've got this, okay? Because unfortunately, right, like growing on a third world country, you don't really get so much support when you say, I want to become an entrepreneur, I want to become a freelancer, I want to work from home. That kind of thing is still like, there's no security in that. Like, that's not a job. You're not making a living out of that. So they just need more people that, like you and I, that creates content, that gives them that resource, that gives them that extra energy and extra push to just really go after what they want. They need content that will inspire them and motivate them. That's what they need, and that's what the millennials needs nowadays. That's why there's a lot of millennial mentors. This is why I chose this path. I didn't plan for it. I was constantly being pushed to become that, because I know that there is something that I could give, and there's something that they can benefit from me. So that's what they really need, man. Like, just inspiration and a leader to really just tell them, you've got this, man. They need support. They don't need your help. They need support, because if they need help, then again, information, it's all online. All they have to do is lift their fingers, and the help that they need is online. You know, it's just a phone away. But they need support from people like you and myself and everyone else that is walk the path.
That's perfect. I think that's a great way to really wrap up. The opportunity is there. It's about really owning it. You know, you do have the talent. Once you recognize that, realize that you are in charge and you are responsible for that talent to be able to utilize it and to serve other people. So yeah, I'm really excited to see where this movement is going. And I think it's amazing that, you know, your way of service, it's beyond, you know, oh my gosh. And it's so ironic because, you know, we have
derivative. People always ask me that. So what's your business? Just, oh my gosh, no, my business is people.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's a derivative. And you know, that was my apprenticeship in business. And up to this day, I still run oh my gosh. And now, but because of that, oh my gosh has given me everything. But going back into my purpose, it really is in service of other people. So everything else that we do, let's say if you work for someone and you earn a huge amount of money on it, what do you do with that money? So for me, what do I do with the money that I make in oh my gosh? It always goes back into the people, you know, because the more you give, the more you get. I really believe that is just the law of the universe. It's proven and tested.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I'm just really amazed about, you know, what you're doing, going beyond the brands. And it's just amazing to see, like, in terms of the people who are really leading, you know, this millennial era right now. What I'm realizing is that, look, you need to be the example first. Build up you, even if that looks like an extension of yourself and building a brand first. Do that. Put all your energy and your vision and your hard work into that. But not only stop it there, use this as your platform to really share a message. And that's what I really appreciate and respect what you're doing. Beyond oh my gosh, is like you're really serving the people, and excited to, you know, really get to know more and watch more of your journey and be a part of it. One day, I mean, I do have a vision as well to really go back to my parents' country, you know, the Philippines, your country, and to really do some more work there. I believe that there's so much work to do globally in general, but yeah, I'm really excited to see what you're doing, how we can collaborate more. And yeah, really excited to see what you really build beyond with your legacy. So really appreciate your time today. Is there anything else that you'd like to share? Anything else that's on your mind?
My encouragement for listeners is to really stop fighting for a life that is so limited. Really. I'm not saying that working for someone is a bad thing, right? But I'm just like, if you're so unhappy with where you currently are, why are you fighting for it? Why can't you fight for the right thing? You know, you're already suffering. Why can't you suffer knowing that you are doing it for, you know, and living true to your purpose, to yourself? So stop fighting for a limited life. That would be my encouragement.
Well, amazing. Thank you so much, Hershey. Really appreciate it. And excited to collaborate some more. So wish you all the best for everything you're doing. God bless.
Thank you.
You just jump off the cliff and you build your plane on the way down.
Guys, it's Hershey Hilado here. I hope that this story will inspire you to use your adversity and be creating more opportunities in life. You know, the things that we were before, the things that we did before, and who we were doesn't actually define who we want to become. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart.